So, are women really regretting becoming independent? Somehow when I browse YouTube or Facebook, it's really hard to avoid the manosphere suggested content. And sometimes it's posts of things women have said along the lines of, women are scared of men realizing their own worth because they bring nothing to the relationship and would end up alone. Without men that get no gratitude from women, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Their expectations are too high and they can't find a mate. Nothing can replace a man, and a strong independent woman in fact cannot do everything a man can. I'm wondering what kind of women, what kind of life these people are living. It feels so much like it just doesn't happen. So, is that actually a thing? What might be happening here? Alone is so much better than with a shitty partner. In UK, after First War, there were a lot of women whose men had died. They became the crazy aunts my generation grew up with. They had careers as teachers, nurses, shop workers, shop owners. These were all my unmarried aunts. They had no choice. They seemed to get on with their lives. That sounds like some grader projection, TBH. I mean, it is hard to sustain myself financially because this economy is not built for single people. But I'll make do. I'm so much happier. Studies have found consistently that single, childless women are the happiest adult demographic. All of the comments from men suggesting the opposite are pure projection. Men benefit immensely from their relationships with women. But as women gain their independence, they're less willing to be bangmaid sex mommy to some overgrown man-child. And that terrifies men. So they project this onto the women that threaten their position. What might be happening? A combination of wishful thinking and actual maliciously but consciously made up lies used purposefully and with the precise intent of radicalizing men into supporting male supremacy. And men fall for it by droves because it confirms what they feel and what they want reality to be. Because that reality favors them, and although other men may oppress them in that reality, they in turn get to oppress women, so it's worth it. I'll be 51 tomorrow. Own my own house, car, pets, have a job, friends, and plenty of time to do whatever I want. My regret is that I didn't commit to this lifestyle sooner. Their expectations are too high and they can't find a mate. This may be the only one reasonably true, and I don't see it as a bad thing. It's also not a gender thing. I think anyone who is happy and fine by themselves is also going to be more picky and more selective when it comes to partners. Again, not a bad thing at all if you ask me. Rest is all tiny insecure men propaganda. It's all propaganda. I used to be married and now I'm not, and I'm happier alone. Ah yes, women bring nothing to the relationship. Which is exactly why so many men are constantly whining about not being able to get a GF and have their whole lives revolve around getting into a sense S. And yet divorced women are happier than divorced men. Lol. Hell no. Having your own money and doing whatever you like with your time and your living space is fantastic. These guys are seriously overestimating how desirable their companionship is. Funny how there's all sorts of talk about how men are being left behind. The only time I have ever thought it would have been helpful to have a husband around was when trying to put a duvet cover back on myself. Then I discovered some genius made one that opens on 3 sides. So my only use case for men is gone. I used to hear sentiments like those from friends occasionally. I think youth and inexperience upbringing, indoctrination from misogynist family, and plain old insecurity were usually the underpinnings of those dark fears. I do not think any woman I know consistently believes any of it. But I do think toxic shit fed us in childhood still bubbles to the surface when we are struggling. Like with a breakup or major life change or whatever. None of those thoughts would hold up to having men's hopes pinned on them. It's a lie men have been convincing women, and in many cases legally and physically forcing of. Since biblical times. Men need women more than men I need men, so they use their strength to force us to submit to them so they can have sexual access and servitude of women. These men are trying to rationalize their own shitty existence. They are blaming women and projecting their own insecurities onto them. IDK about y'all. But I've been so much happier without a man consistently attempting to shit on me because I'm doing better than him. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. Nah. I don't need men. I'm bi, but I could be perfectly happy just dating other women if I had to. I own my own home and have a good paying job. I do my own electrical and plumbing. My girlfriend is fantastic with woodworking. She built our bed, a few chairs, our kitchen cabinets. What might be happening here? Projection. No. Those losers are just bitter. If men want a female partner in an equalitarian world, they have to actually be a good partner themselves. The only men who feel threatened by independent women are men who fear that they couldn't keep a woman without having her materially depend on him. They are projecting their own insecurities on women who are capable, stable, and happy whether or not they have a man. Getting ready to buy my own place in the next 3 months. By myself. Changed my own oil yesterday and have $5,000 left of my student debt. I love my alone time. Lol. No. Independence is fucking awesome. Some women align themselves with patriarchy because it connects them to power. Independent women are a threat to that power and make them uncomfortable about their own choices and lives. While I'm sure there are people who think like that, I have a feeling that a lot of this content is manufactured as rage bait. Some people only know to engage through negative interactions. Outrage is always sure to get a reaction. I have seen so many posts from stay-at-home mother women and women who are unemployed and dependent on men regretting their lifestyle. I haven't seen any posts from women regretting a successful career and having nice things. Haha, no. Men who don't want to pull their socks up and treat women with respect say stuff like this to make impressionable women accept them and their bad behavior. But it's not true and never was. No bread is much better than half a loaf of stale moldy bread that makes you sick. And independence is far better than supporting a leech. These all read as the comments of older, more traditional, and likely religious women complaining at a younger woman about why aren't you married yet. To me, they mostly read as jealousy and justifications for why they put up with the shitty relationships and limitations they did. Even if these are real quotes from women, I would be surprised if any of the people quoted are currently under 60. I've been alone most of my life. I will never settle for a partner that isn't willing to compromise and work with me. I may be alone the rest of my life, but at least my cat loves me unconditionally. Cat. I would rather be alone than have a substandard partner. Period.